Hey everybody, Gage here from Sharp. Very excited to have you with me. We are going to sharpen my own personal knives today. I thought it'd be fun to show you what I do to sharpen and care for my own personal knives, what stones I use, what my kind of thought process is as I'm going through this process. One of my favorite days of the week when I was cooking professionally were Sundays because one, I wasn't working that day. It was usually my first day off. And two, I used to love spending a few hours, put a pot of coffee on, get some tunes going, and sharpen up my knives, get everything ready to go for the upcoming week. So today we have 4 knives we're going to sharpen. This 240 millimeter Fujin Aogami Super Gyuto from Kurosaki-san, a 165 millimeter Nakiri from Shirokamo, also made from Aogami Super. My brand new Hatono ZDP 189 Bunka, and this 155 millimeter Hanasuki from Goko Hamono. These are all oldies but goodies except for the Hatono here. We've had all these in stock in the past, but unfortunately only, well, I think none of these knives are in stock on our website right now, so can't get any of these anymore. But yeah, some of these take me back, man, like this Fujin, I remember was a return from a customer. He said it was bent. It's not bent. It's beautifully straight, and I'm very happy to have it. So, you know, it all worked out. So, okay, first thing we'll talk about are the stones I'm going to use. I have the Cerax 1000 soaking in water, and then I have the Naniwa Pro 2000, 3000, 5000, 10,000, an Atoma diamond plate for flattening. I've got my stone holder here, and then I've got a towel and some water. I'm a huge fan of the Cerax 1000. I am not a huge fan of the Naniwa Pro 1000. I find it really hard. I don't like the feedback that I get off of it at all. So that's the reason why I'm using the Cerax. I find it it's a little softer, a little bit sandier, but I just much prefer the feedback on this guy than the Naniwa Pro. But the rest of the Naniwa Pro stones are awesome. We're going to simultaneously be shooting a not sharp to sharp video here. So the reason I'm going up all the way to 10K, and maybe I'll only do that on the Hatono because that's the knife we're using for that video, is because I find when you get into these really high polish grits, that's what really helps you enter into the paper really easily. I'll generally will only go up to like a 2 or a 3K with my own personal knives, so I'll probably stop on these 3, just on the 3K, and then I'll continue up to the 10,000 on the Hatono. So without further ado, let's get going. All right, folks, here we are, set up with my Suehiro Cerax 1000 grit stone. I'm just going to give it a little dressing, a little flattening before we get going here. I've always found that getting a slurry going before you even start sharpening is really helpful. Gets things speeding along really quick here. Should be a pretty quick and easy process today. We've got 3 carbon steel knives to work on, and only one ZDP 189 knife that is making me a little nervous. We'll see how long it takes me to get through that guy. My knives are in relatively good shape, so the first thing you're always going to do is just kind of give a little assessment to your knives, see how sharp they are, see if they need any thinning or any bevel work. All three of my carbon steel knives are totally fine in that regard. Like they're all in pretty decent shape. I don't really need to go that low on the stones here. They don't need a ton of work. So this is going to be kind of like a maintenance sharpening today. And obviously Aogami Super is super easy to sharpen. So yeah, just kind of give a feel, see how sharp they are. The name of the game is always staying at the highest grit possible. In my mind, that will help you maintain your blade geometry as best as you can. The less steel we remove, the less our blade geometry is affected and the less thinning we have to do, which just means that your knife is going to last longer, right? So I try to sharpen as frequently as I can get myself to do it. I'm going to try to sharpen right around here, which I don't know exactly what that is, but I think it's probably in the 15 sub-degree range there. Yeah, and I'll just get her going here. Do one pass and then just kind of check my work and see how I'm feeling about everything. I really love how quickly the slurry develops on the Suehiro Cerax stone. I love the feedback. It feels fantastic. So after one pass, we're looking good. We've got an edge starting to make itself seen here. I don't have any, oh, actually I do have a bit of a burr forming up here already, which is a good sign. Like I said, these knives are like really not in bad shape at all. It's been, how long has it been since I last sharpened these? It's been a while, I'm not gonna lie. I've been getting a couple new knives recently, so rather than sharpening my old knives, I've just been using my brand new sharp knives, which is not a great habit to get into, I know, but.
I understand though.
I'm sure if you're watching this video, you probably have done the same. Cool, yeah, so I've already got like a pretty decent burr formed on here. I don't want to do too much to these. I know I've said it a million times, they're in really good shape, so I really don't want to like take too much material off of these, and like maybe I would normally go a little bit further with my burr, but I know that this isn't really going to need much work, so let's do a tiny bit more here. So I like to, you probably notice, like generally work in like small sections. So I'll do kind of like a few strokes here, move my fingers down, a few more strokes, and then just kind of, you know, move my fingers down the length of the knife as I'm putting strokes in. And then I like to do these like nice long strokes just to sort of even everything out. Now this knife being like super long as it is definitely like a little bendy. So you have to be a little bit, you know, cautious when you're working with these types of knives, not to apply too much pressure, because you can like bend the blade as you're sharpening it, which will affect your results, of course. Cool, so I'm feeling really good. So you want to use tactile, like you want to feel the knife, use those clues, like see how your burr is feeling, but also use visual cues. We want to make sure that the edge that we're creating looks consistent the whole way, right? It's the same width at the heel as it is in the middle of the blade, as it is at the tip of the blade. I honestly have a bit of a bad habit. I tend to get a little, I guess, flat to the stone when I'm at the tip here. So I find that the edge of my knife always looks a little fatter towards the tip, but not too bad. Not enough to like, you know, ruin the results that I'm achieving. So I'm feeling good about that. The burr feels nice. My edge looks nice. I'm gonna just get a little more water on my stone, and then I'm gonna start working on the other side. All right, here I am sharpening the back side of my knife. Everything remains the same. I'm still sharpening, holding the knife with my right hand, applying pressure with my left hand. Rather than pushing away from myself as I'm applying pressure, I'm pulling the knife towards myself as I apply pressure down into the stone. I'm using the same angle, same hand pressure. I'm trying to do about the same amount of work on this side as I have on the front side of the knife. You don't have to be exact. Let the burr sort of tell you where you're at, more so than, you know, trying to count the strokes that you do and all that sort of stuff. I've got a beautiful, beautiful slurry going on my stone right now. It's getting a little dry though, so just a tiny bit more water here. And again, I'm working in those sort of like small sections before I do some nice long strokes, just to sort of even everything out. We're lifting, you'll notice I kind of lift the handle up as I get in towards the tip, and then sit the handle down as I come into the heel. And I'm gonna check my work. I've got a nice burr formed already. You will find generally that the burr on the back side of the knife pops up quite a bit quicker, because you've formed the burr on the front side. As soon as you flip over to the other side, the burr is gonna flip over pretty quick as well. So I like to do maybe a little bit extra work on this back side after I've got the burr formed, just so I know I'm gonna end up with like a pretty even 50-50 edge. And yeah, that feels really nice. So I'm done. I'm done sharpening the front side. I'm done sharpening the back side. I'm going to move on to my deburring strokes now. So we're going to return back to the original side we started sharpening on. I like to do, as you just witnessed, like 1 or 2 strokes, edge leading and edge trailing strokes to start. And then I'll just kind of keep doing those edge leading, edge trailing strokes for a little while, and then I'll just do edge trailing strokes to sort of finish it off here. And then when I'm checking my work, what I'm checking for is to make sure there is no burr anymore. So I shouldn't feel any scratchiness anywhere, which I do not. And I should feel sharp at this point, which I do. And I want to feel sharp everywhere. So if there's any, so that like right here doesn't feel awesome to me, everything else feels great. The tip for me has always been a problem area. I've always had a tough time getting the tip real nice. And what I find is when I come off, when I finish my deburring, I always feel like there's kind of like a little burr right at the tip here. So what I try to do is really focus on that section of the edge when I'm doing my deburring strokes. Make sure I get good contact there. But from what I can tell, because the burr feels like it's hanging on to this side here, so that means when I'm doing my deburring strokes on this side of the knife, I'm not making great contact with the tip of the knife. And then on this side, I am making great contact, too good contact on this side, which is causing the burr to flip over onto this side. So I really try to take my time and get those deburring strokes really nice at the tip here. So when I feel no more burr there, and now we're feeling sharp again. So I'm feeling really good about this. Super duper sharp all the way. Cool, so we're done on the 1000 grit stone on the first knife. So I'm gonna dry this guy off. I'm gonna get my next knife going here, which is gonna be my Suehiro Cerax. And we'll get to it here. Okay, we're moving on to the Suehiro Cerax here. All I've done is flatten my stone out again, got a little slurry going, getting ready to go here. We are gonna be pressed for time for this video. It's gonna turn into like a 2-hour video. So what I'm gonna do is just speed through the 1K on the rest of my knives here, and then I'll meet you on the 2K. So I'll see you in a few minutes there. All right, folks, I've finished up all of my knives on the 1000 grit Suehiro Cerax. I'm now on my Naniwa 2000 Pro series, also known as the Cerax series. I'm gonna just do my Hatono bunka on this stone. I normally wouldn't bother making a stopover on the 2000 grit stone. But with ZDP 189, with such like a hard and finicky steel to sharpen, I have a feeling that making really small jumps is gonna be to my benefit here. So I'm gonna spend a little bit of time on this 2K stone on only my bunka, and then I'll move on to the 3000 grit Naniwa Pro / Cerax for the rest of my knives. That's probably where I'll finish off on my my Suehiro Cerax, my Goko Hanaske, and my 240 Fujin Gyuto on that 3000 grit stone, and then I'll carry on with the Hatono onto the 5000 and then 10,000, because like I said, we want to get this guy like crazy sharp, ready to like cut through that tube of paper that we're gonna use for our other video. It would be kind of cool to get like a mirror polished like Koba on this guy to go along with the mirror polished. Yeah, it's gonna look cool, right? And since this guy's like kind of lost a little bit of its polish, it'll probably actually contrast pretty nice and look really cool. So if you've been following along the channel at all, you probably saw we posted a video of a 1-month review for this Hatono, and the only issue I've had with it is it got like knocked into something. I don't even know what happened really, but there was like a 1 centimeter sort of little section right where the knife kind of contacts the cutting board when you're doing that rocking motion, that kind of like rolled over a little bit, and I was a little worried that that was going to be really difficult to get out, but it's proven to be a non-issue. It came out super easy. We're making great progress on this guy. I haven't found, I mean, this knife is like brand new, so maybe it's not a fair assessment of the difficulties that ZDP 189 can present. Obviously, like we've heard from blacksmiths talk about it before being really difficult to work with and sharpen. But you know, they're like setting the blade geometry and like doing quite a bit more work. So just sharpening the edge of your knife is actually not, I haven't found it all that difficult. And we only started on a 1000 grit stone on this guy too, right? A lot of the times when people say if a steel is difficult to sharpen, what they really mean is you just need a lower grit stone.
Or it's difficult to thin.
Or it's difficult to thin, but again, that's just like, yeah, it comes down to like the the tools that you're using, right? Like you just need something more abrasive to help you get rid of material. But that is, yeah, like if it's difficult to get rid of material and you're like, you know, thinning out the bevels, which is, you know, a very difficult process with the easiest to work with steel. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, there we go. 2000 done on my Hatono. It's feeling freaking sharp already. I bet you we cut through paper with this bad boy already, but I said I was going to go to 10,000, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, I'm going to put this guy away. I'm going to get my 3,000 out and ready to go, and then I'll see you in a second here. All right, folks, we got the Naniwa Pro / Chosera 3000 grit stone set up here. I've got it flattened. I got a little slurry going. I've got my Shirokamo Nakati in my hand. This guy just came off of the 1000 grit stone. So we'll give it a little 1-2 on here. It shouldn't take too much work. It's the other great thing about sharpening your knives with, you know, at a higher frequency is that it really doesn't take much time to do when you do decide to sharpen them. Like I'm already done. One side done. I've got a tiny little burr formed. You'll find the burr gets less and less noticeable as you get into the higher and higher grits, obviously, and it's a good thing. It does, I would say for me personally, I kind of lose the ability to feel any sort of burr after this 3000 grit stone. I can feel a bit of a burr on this knife after the work I just did there. But if I were to do the same amount of work on the 5000 grit stone on this guy, I probably wouldn't be able to feel it at all. I feel a little burr on here, so we're good. We're gonna have a little more water on here. You don't want to completely wash away your slurry, but you don't want it to dry out either. Another point I'd like to make is that as you're going through, especially your deburring process, but as you're going through your stone progression at a whole, you should be lightening up on your hand pressure as you go. We're trying to like set our new edge, right? So really gentle towards the end of the process here. I'm really just taking my time, try to go nice and slow here. Get really good contact, make sure I'm, you know, super consistent with my angles and everything. I know I keep yapping, but one of the other good ways to tell is just by the sound that you're making. Like if the sound of each stroke that you put in sounds the same, then you're probably being pretty consistent as well. Oh yeah. That feels fantastic. I like to use most people call it the 3-finger trick, but I'm lazy. I just use 2 fingers, I guess. And touch every little bit and piece of the blade, and if it wants to grab into your skin, then it was probably pretty sharp. If that freaks you out, the other thing you can do is just gently touch it on your nail, and if it like gets stuck in there rather than like skating across your nail, then you're probably feeling pretty sharp. You don't obviously want to jab it in there because then you're cheating, and you want to be very careful because cutting through your nail is one of the most painful experiences I've ever had.
How do you know?
So just be careful there. Okay, so that's the 3000 grit. I'm gonna do my Fujin 240 Gyuto. I'm also going to do my Hatono. I'm going to do all my knives on this 3000 grit, and then I will be finished with the 3 knives other than my Hatono, which I will take up to the 5000. So I'll probably just see you at the 5000 in the next shot here. All right, folks, here we are on the 5000 grit stone. Like I said, we're only going to do the Hatono on this because I always feel like the 3000 is more than adequate for my other stones. But we want this to be like crazy sharp. This stone's awesome though, man. We use this one. How much do you guys use this in Hamilton? Do you use the 5K a ton?
I personally don't. I really like the 3K. I also really like, I've been coming around to the Debato 4K a lot.
Yeah, those are sweet too.
I would like to spend a little bit more time with that, but I don't use this one too much, honestly.
Yeah, we don't use this one as much as I feel like we should either. Maybe I will start using it more. We use the 3K a ton at the Etobicoke shop because when we're shipping knives out, if they're not feeling great, we'll tune them up on that real quick. And it's like, it's a great grit because it like doesn't really remove any material, but it's like coarse enough that it really helps the edges pop.
Still get a bit of bite from it?
Yeah, a little bit, yep.
And if memory serves correct, when we were visiting Rusin, that's what he used to finish the knives.
Is it the 3K?
They're always like killer.
Yeah, the Rusin has like some of the sharpest knives right out of the box for sure. Yeah, I don't remember that, but you're probably right, Jake. Okay, so I'm feeling really good there. This looks awesome. It's starting to look super shiny. Yeah, I'm feeling good. The sound that comes off of this stone too is so nice. It's like whisper quiet. Yeah, it's so quiet. You might not hear it.
Imagine.
So the backside feels sounds a little louder than when I was sharpening the front side. I wonder why that is. Maybe because I'm holding it more like perpendicular than I was on the front side. I don't know. You know me. I'm not a science guy. I think I have a tendency to be a little flatter on the backside than I am on the front side as well.
I feel like most people do that on their offside.
Yeah. I've been practicing my ambidextrous sharpening a lot lately. I'm not quite to the point where I will let people watch me do it on camera.
I feel like the tip's a lot easier with when you switch hands.
Is it?
Because you have more like.
Yeah. Well, and you can get this going, right? Yeah. Which is really hard on the backside. I do find that this stroke helps me a lot though. Like I often do this, and
I still do that even with ambidextrous. When I'm doing deburring, I still do like the same hand.
You do, eh? Yeah.
Like you do.
Okay. I think that's all we need to do on this one. Yeah, this thing is freaking sharp, man. Okay, I'll see you guys on the 10K. Is this necessary? No, it is not. It will help you impress your friends when you're slicing tomatoes and slicing paper.
Really nice for tools.
Yeah, like if you're doing your straight razor, the 10K is awesome.
Mm-hmm. This is what I finish my razor on.
Helps you shave arm hairs or face hairs.
Or not irritate your throat.
Not irritate your throat, yeah. I'm really trying to focus up here. I don't have much to say at this point. We're really trying to do a good job on this. Because once we finish on this, we'll hit it on the strop and then we'll hopefully be slicing a tube of paper with this bad boy. If you watch that video, the first time we cut, when I was holding the tube, I could kind of get through, but we want to do no hands tube.
Look, Ma.
No hands, baby. You're getting behind the scenes on how we cheat on our slicing videos. We cheat by sharpening the knife really well. Okay, I'm feeling really good about this. I always have to, when you use the 2-finger trick, you end up getting these like little slits in your fingers, and then sometimes it can be deceiving. Like the knife fits into the ones you already have there, and you think it's sharp, but it's not. So you gotta make sure you're testing on fresh skin. Okay, I'm feeling really good. I'm off camera here. I'm just getting this guy cleaned up, and then we're gonna tubulize some paper, and we're gonna slice it, see how it goes. So, see you in a second. All right, folks, off the 10K and then the leather strop. Let's see if we can slice some paper with this bad boy. That was sweet. That felt great. All right, there you have it, guys. Paper shaven sharp after the 10K. Really happy with how this turned out. Very happy with how all of my knives turned out. I don't know if I'd be able to quite do what I just did with this Sakai. Yeah, no, see? Not quite. The structural integrity has been compromised, so that could be a big part of it. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. We really appreciate your support. I hope you learned some stuff today. If you have any comments, leave them down below. And until the next one, stay sharp.